Hello, everyone, and thank you all for joining us today. Was not expecting this large crowd, so the pressure is on now. Thank you, Phyllis, and your team for inviting me. Yes, it's been over a year when we were supposed to do this last April, and so a lot of things have evolved since then, and a lot of things have changed, and so I'm delighted to talk a little bit about what we're doing in the Multicultural Center in terms of supporting our diverse students. And so for time, I know we only have less than an hour. I have a lot of slides, but I want to be respectful of everyone's time. And I also want to have some student perspective at the end, and then also some Q&A. I would love to hear some feedback from individuals on the call today. And so some of the individuals I'm going to be talking about today. And so again, this is not a reflection of me and my work. This is really a team effort. And so we would not be able to do what we do in the center and for our students if it wasn't for many of the individuals on the call and ones that were not able to come today. So I definitely want to highlight that I appreciate the support and the collaboration that we have across our campus to make these programs very successful. So an overview of today, let me move one thing so I can see. Okay, so an overview of today, we're going to spend just a little bit of time defining inclusion and belonging, because that's the topic that we have today. And then we're going to identify some practices that can help create and impact that sense of belonging for our students. We're going to look at what that looks like for our students. And so we asked some students, what they believe sense of belonging and inclusion means to them. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then the majority of the time I want to spend on, talking about our access and success programs within the Mary V. Jordan Multicultural Center. And then we'll have some time to hear from, I know at least one student is on the call. I can't see all of the individuals now, but we may have two students that will give just their feedback on being a part of our programs, and then we'll open it up for Q&A. So what is inclusion? And so we've done a similar talk on this, and so I think it's really important to put some context in how we define inclusion and belonging. And so let's start with inclusion, which is defined as an act of including or a state of being included. And so inclusion means that all people, regardless of their abilities, disabilities, identities, have the right to be respected and appreciated for their value as a member of the community. And so in this context, we're talking about the community of ETSU. And so I think over the years in my role, I think this has been very evident when working with diverse students. And so they want to have a voice, they want to feel included, they want to feel valued. And so then belong. So when you say belonging, sense of belonging, a lot of the work and a lot of the things I want to talk about today is coming from Terrell Strayhorn and his research in sense of belonging. And so a lot of the research that he's been able to do, he's been on campus to talk about this and to talk to our students and staff and faculty. So I really respect him and his work that he's doing on this topic. So a lot of the things that I will be saying will be coming from his literature. So belonging is defined as an attraction for a place or a situation, or to be a part of a member or part of a group. And so in the context of belonging, the key to a person's sense of self and the feeling that he, her, or their effects are being valued, both of which in turn impact the student's persistence and success in college. So research shows that if a student feels that they're being valued and feel that they belong, that they will proceed through college. And so it's important for the administration and leaders on our campus to think about how we are building that sense of belonging and sense of community on our campus for our students, and having experiences where our students feel welcome. And so, again, understanding how to facilitate that sense of belonging is key to campus administration, and especially for diverse students and their persistence through college, their success, and their learning outcomes. And again, this is all coming from Strayhorn. And so Strayhorn really uses a model that I'm hoping a lot of individuals on the call already know a lot about, and that's the hierarchy of needs. And so belonging is a fundamental need. And so it's a need, not a want. And so when we're thinking about sense of belonging, we shouldn't think that our students want that. We should go about it knowing that our students need that. And so it's always been a part of the human experience. And it just points to the simple fact that all human beings need to feel welcome, need to feel valued. And this means that success is dependent on that feeling that one can fit in. And so Strayhorn uses this model to talk a lot about the fundamental needs and motivation that depends on social spaces and the overall college environment. And so in terms of the social spaces that these students are involved in and the overall community on our campus, this in turn can lead to outcomes that can manifest either in a positive experience or a negative experience for our students. And we're going to talk a little bit about what that impact means. So belonging in campus. And so some positive things that if we are creating this sense of belonging in campus climate for our students, some of the positive things that can come out of that and the impact to that could be engagement. The students are very engaged on campus. They're going to class, they're being a part of organizations. They're attending a lot of the things that we have going on, but they're also achieving. And so not only with a GPA, we always think achievement has to be a GPA, but that's not all for all students. Not all students are going to have a 4.0. Achieving for some students is showing up every day to class. Just showing up, it is an achievement for them. And so we have to really be mindful that we meet the students where they are. And so their well-being, and I know we've talked a lot about that, even in several meetings today about the well-being of our students. And so a positive campus climate environment, sense of belonging can help with that happiness and well-being for our students. And so, unfortunately, there can be some negative side effects. And so I want to be respectful of the current climate that I think we're experiencing on our campus now. I think a lot of these feelings are coming out with some recent events that have happened not only on our campus, but in the community and in the nation. And so from some feedback with students and some conversation, and I think the pandemic had a lot to do with that because we're sort of in this silo. Right now, we're currently on Zoom. We're all in squares. I can't even see everyone right now. I see 6 people and that's it. And so we really are seeing that our students are feeling that loneliness. You know, depression has set in for a lot of our students. So the emotional effects that the sense of community and belonging can have on our students is sadness, anger, depression, low self-esteem. And so these are all the negative side effects that our students are feeling. And so some physical side effects is fatigue. And some research is showing that some of these negative effects actually have the same side effects as some of the health issues in terms of smoking, obesity, and drinking. And so to just put that into context of, you know, just creating an environment for our students to feel welcome, to feel appreciated. If they don't have that, they can really have some negative physical effects that can affect them overall. So, you know, last year, you know, I think we were in a different time than we are currently. And so we don't have time to really go around the room like we would in this type of presentation, but I really want you to think about the students that you're working with, for the staff and faculty on the call, or even community members, and then even students yourself. Think about this. You know, if we asked you what inclusion and belonging means, what would you say? And so, I need to go back, sorry. You know, I think it also evolves over time. I think if you ask a student last year what this means, they may have a different definition. If you ask the student currently what that means, they may have a a different definition. And so we did talk to some students when we first put this presentation together. And so some of the things that the students talked about are things that the research says. And so when we ask the student, you know, what inclusion and belonging means, they say accepted, they say connected, comfortable, valued, family, community, care, support. And so also we have to be mindful that these students' sense of belonging and their perception of community can change and evolve over time. And so while this is evident in one given time, this may be completely different currently. And I challenge everyone on the call to really check on your students right now, and particularly your diverse students. And that's all of our diverse students. I think we're seeing in the world a lot of negativity, a lot of things that are coming against our students. So our students are bringing that to campus. And so while they're in a pandemic, they're watching a trial right now. They're watching people that look like them get killed in a grocery store. They're just going through a lot of emotions. And so it's really important for us on campus to check in on our students. And yes, we have things that we have to do. Yes, they have homework that they have to turn in, but again, the research shows if they're not feeling valued, if they're not feeling supported, they're not going to be successful. And so how can we encourage a greater sense of belonging through our programs that develop a purposeful and caring campus community? And so I think one of the words there is purposeful. And so I think many times we think that we can just have events and just have things just to have them, to have a check off that. But we really have to be purposeful in all of our programming. And you will see how over the last 3 years with one of our program, we really have been intentional to make that program a very successful program. And so when you're thinking about programs and events in your area or how to support these students, be purposeful about what you want to do. And then how can this have an impact on staff and students across the university community, and what could be done to have activities look like this to build that sense of belonging. And so now I'm going to transition a little bit. Again, we don't have time to really, talk about that now. I hope we have some time in the Q&A to hear from some of you all and some of your ideas on how we can help with the sense of belonging on our campus. And so now I'm going to talk about really the meat of this conversation is what we're doing in the Mary V. Jordan Multicultural Center. And so how are we building that sense of community all the way from access programs all the way to graduation. And so I have 3 programs that I'm highlighting, but we're going to spend a lot of time on our Bucks Academy, formerly known as our Summer Bridge program, because we really have some great data to show that this program is really helping our students. And we do have a student from that program that will give her perspective as well. So, I am the director of the Mary V. Jordan Multicultural Center. I love the work that I do. I joke about it a lot. It's very stressful. I think I told a couple people this morning I'm exhausted right now just because there's a lot going on, like many of us are. But I love what I do. I love to work with the students. I love the student population, but their needs are real, and so I don't take that lightly. And so I think that's why I do get exhausted. But I love seeing them come in, and then I love seeing them graduate, and just to see them through that transition, it really just brings joy to me, and it helps me to get up during the day, in the morning to come to work when there's a lot of negativity going on around us. And so my students really bring that to me. And so I miss them because I see them on a screen right now. And so I really look forward to having most of those students come back this fall. So the mission and vision of the center, we are just affirming understanding of human differences and similarities. We promote and lead diversity and facilitate that. We want to be a champion for diversity. We want to provide engaging atmospheres through our listening session, coffee hours, and things that we do in our office. We want to provide support for underrepresented students. While most of what we do in the center is open to all students, we also want to be targeted into making sure that our underrepresented students have the resources and that they can meet their important goals that they've set out for themselves. And we want to help with that smooth transition from high school to college. We want to assist the students to build that sense of community before they set foot on our campus. And so, because we know that those positive relationships will last forever. And some of the people on the call have been working with our Bridge students and our Bucks Academy students. And if it wasn't for the instructors like Dr. Johnson, and I think Deidre Rogers is on the call, Joy is on the call, you all have worked with our students in the classrooms, and so you've really impacted their lives forever. And so we care about retention, but we care about graduation. And so ultimately we want the students to have a positive experience on here where they will stay and they will graduate. And so we do that in a few different ways. And so we have programming and outreach. So we do reach out to the community, and we work with the Langston Center in particularly, that's one area, but we work with a lot of other community members. We do have international student support programs. We have our IBB and host family programs to welcome our incoming international students. I know the numbers have gone down with COVID, but we hope that those numbers are going to come up. So we will be seeking out for more support for our incoming international students, hopefully this fall. So I can definitely give you more some more information about that. And then our Access and Success programs, I'm going to talk a little bit about here shortly in the next slides. And then the last thing is our student area. I did put a picture on here, so this was intentional just because, you know, community, we're talking about fostering inclusion and belonging. And so this picture right here of our lobby, you know, and it's empty right now, but this is where students usually come to get that community. I remember prior to the co-op renovation and prior to COVID, I used to have to walk outside and say, okay, students, you know, this is a place of work and you're too loud right now. But they loved it, and they love to see the students, and I miss that. And so I'm really looking forward to this fall when we have our students back on campus so we can connect with them in a different way. And so the first program I'm going to talk about, so the Access. So we start as early as high school, and really even earlier than that in some of our programs, reaching out to students. And so again, we work with enrollment services to help target students as early as 10th grade, 9th grade, really, to give them resources to help them be successful as they're applying to come to ETSU. And so we partner with open houses, and we have additional support for the students. And so again, prior to COVID, we would set the students up at the Carnegie Hotel for their guests, and they will spend the night, and then they will come to open house, and we'll make sure they have all the information. We usually can give fee waivers for the students when they apply to ETSU. And in 2017, we started a bus tour. And so we actually charter buses from Atlanta, Chattanooga, Nashville, Charlotte, Spartanburg, Greensboro, to shuttle people to campus. And we were able to work with ETSU alum to help in those areas to actually ride the bus with the family and the students to campus. And so this has actually been a successful program, and we have been doing it via Zoom over the last year because of COVID. And so we're excited to bring that program back in person this fall. And then the next program is Quest for Success. So ideally, you know, we hope students will go through Discover and then transition into our Quest program. And the Quest program is originally our college transitional program. And so this started in the early 2000s, if not late 1990s, where we encourage students to move in early. And so they move in a week early before classes. We work with them all throughout the summer. So as soon as they apply for our program, we're making sure their financial aid is correct. We're making sure they did apply for scholarships before the deadline. We're making sure their housing application is in. We're making sure that they're connected with their major, with their advisor, and then we meet with them at orientation. And then we have a 3-day program before preview, just getting getting the students excited about being a Buccaneer. And so it is a 4-year program, and so students really go through a developmental stage, if you will, throughout the 4 years. So every Wednesday at 5 p.m. we have an academic workshop, and that's August through May. So we have it all throughout the year, and each year we focus on a different theme. And so students are not going to the same workshop throughout the whole time. So every year we have dedicated resources that we want to make sure that we cover with them. And so now I'm excited about to talk about the Bucks Academy. And so this is a program that started 3 years ago. It is a grant funded program. We secured a 2-year grant of $100,000 to put this program on. And then through the success of the program, we did get institutional support and other grants and support to be able to sustain this program. And so currently we've had 150 students. So it's a small cohort. We start with 50 students every year. So this is our 3rd year, going on our 4th year. So we currently have, data around the 150 students that are going through the program. And you can see it's a live group. I was only able to put a couple pictures. And so it's a great group of students, and I'm glad to share this program with you all. So, and again, some of the people on the call helped, write the grant for this, help put the efforts in place to be able for this program to be successful. And so, again, this is not a one-person show. This was really a great team that put a lot of effort and energy into this. So the goals and objectives. So the Bucks Academy, the Bucks stands for Building Up College Success. And so again, we want to be intentional in even our name. And so originally it was the Summer Bridge Plus program, but students just thought it was a Summer Bridge program. And so we wanted to be intentional to let the students know that, no, this is a program that will go for the 4 years or plus years that you're at ETSU. And so this program helps to give students confidence and skills, again, fostering that sense of belonging for these students. But we want to build the confidence and skills to help with that transition to college. We want them to know what resources and services are available for them at ETSU. We want to teach them classroom skills to prepare them for the college level courses, because some of these students did not take AP courses. Some of these didn't take dual enrollment. So for a lot of these students, a college course, this will be their very first one. And so we want to prepare them for that. Again, fostering positive relationships. We start that from day one. At our welcome, we invite staff and faculty to meet the families, to meet the whole family. We have 12 people come in, their brothers, sisters, aunties, uncles, grandmothers. It's just amazing to be able to talk to them. But we start that relationship early on. We want to enhance their critical thinking skills through career exploration and class experience. We want them to gain leadership skills. So you will see later on that many of our students are in leadership roles currently on our campus. And then we want to help them to build a schedule and strategy to balance school, employment, and other things that they want to be involved in. And so we go over time management a lot throughout this program. And so the benefit of the Bucks Academy is that students start by taking a 3-credit class over the summer. And so the first 2 years we were able to do that in June and July. Last year, COVID sort of switched us up a little bit, and we had to do it a little bit before school began in August. But we're on track this year to have the students come back about 6 weeks before the first of the school and have this program. But it's free for the students, so they do not have to pay for the college credit. So they get free 3 free college credits before they even set foot on campus, and they take the ETSU 1020 course. Again, a lot of the instructors are on the call today, and so I just appreciate their hard work and dedication in supporting our students. We have team building activities, leadership activities. an academic boot camp to prepare them for that college level again. Again, all the costs, the meals, you know, thank you for dining services and also community members that sponsor a lot of the meals that we have. Thank you for Dr. Pritchett and her housing staff. Housing has been an amazing sponsor in helping us with this program. And so all of that is covered through this grant that we receive. So really the students don't have to pay anything, they just have to show up. The other thing that we were able to do is we were hearing from the students, again, you know, hearing from their lived experiences and see how we can support them. We were hearing that a lot of students were not able to pay for their books. And so we secured funds to be able to give $3,000 to $5,000, not $5,000, that's a lot of money for a book, $300 to $500 per student for their books. And so that really helped the students to ensure that they could get their books for that semester and be successful. Again, so also the students are in a cohort learning experience. And so while the students are taking classes over the summer together, well, one class over the summer, they're taking a class together in the fall. So we try to group the students. We meet with their advisors, and we're really strategic in helping the students take classes together. So all the students take ETSU 1020 in the summer, and then CSI 1100 in the fall. So we have two cohorts going on, and then we talk to the advisors, and they try to group the students that are within the program in similar courses. So we do really have that cohort learning experience. We partner with ETSU Trios, Student Support Services, and the Center of Academic Achievement, and the students are required to do some form of tutoring, and so they do that weekly. And so that's a great partnership, and we've been able to have great success with the tutoring services. We do monthly coaching and academic sessions like I talked earlier. So the students are able to come talk to our staff, ask us questions, and we sort of mentor them on things that we can help them do. And lastly, we work with on and off campus community services. And I can't thank Joy enough for her support in reaching out to community agencies to help our students to get connected. And some of the students that participate in the community service projects during this program, they go back during school to get connected. Some of them have talked about internships. And so again, building that positive relationships and that sense of community started with this program. So I'm going to go back to some research again from Strayhorn. And so again, when you're thinking about putting a program together or how to support students, you really need to be intentional in your planning. And so students from diverse populations enter college, sometimes lacking academic preparedness, lack of financial supports. Most likely, many of the students, we have about 60% of the students are first gen. So they're the first person in their family to go to college. And then many of these students are coming from low income families. And so Strayhorn suggests that sense of belonging and academic readiness can be facilitated through institutional programming, such as summer bridge programming and other similar communities. However, such educational programs need to be planned carefully and required continued assessment for the effectiveness of that program. And so I think we've done a great job every year to assess and evaluate our program. And so we get feedback from the students. We have focus groups with the students. We do an evaluation. When we're planning the program, the students are a part of that program. And so if you're thinking about, you know, what you can do in your area, the first place I will go is to the students. You have student leaders, you have students that you can talk to. And so while we have things that they definitely have to do, like they have to go to study hall. The students don't want study hall, but they have to go. But we've allowed them to put other things into the program that that they want to do and that they feel that is important. And so the three areas on the screen is sort of how we modeled our program in establishing sense of belonging, facilitating that inclusive practice, and then developing community. And so you can see a lot of the things that we've already talked about. it really falls in those 3 areas. And so 10 Toes model, while there's some controversy, you know, with his model in terms of sense of belonging as it refers to diverse populations, there are some valid things that we have been able to take out in terms of the student's journey. And so, you know, we start with the pre-college characteristics. We talk a lot about and do a lot of activities with the whole college experience, but then we spend some time on the out of class experiences as well. And so again, you can see some of the things that we do. We have a retreat at the beginning of every semester, every year that we invite the students to come. We have an orientation and we meet the students and the families, a cohort learning experience. One thing that we're intentional, every time we do something, we try to have a student-to-student interaction right after. So if we have an intense session, we really lean on the student leaders to really facilitate dialogue and conversation after. And so they started this pillow talk. I was like, what's a pillow talk? And so the students love the pillow talk. Pillow talk happens during the Bucks Academy program over the summer, and it's at night when they're about to go to bed, but they just want to talk. And so the leaders, you know, they just let the students talk. They talk about all different things, but it typically turns into different interests, you know, like different leaders, they gravitate toward a certain leader. And so we now have it on the schedule, pillow talk from 9 to 10 every night. And so the students love it, but the faculty's not there, you know, I'm not there. And so the students just really get to talk about the real issues that they want to talk about. And so the leaders always follow up with me and the rest of my staff. I have Jay on the call, and so he's planning the program now. And so they really reach out to us to say, hey, we're hearing this from the students, you know, how can we support them? And then we know where to go. But we also, you know, we also make sure that we are mindful of the cultural awareness. And so not all of our students are coming from the same area. Not all of our students are from the same backgrounds. And so we do diversity talks with our students. We have diversity education. We work with other people around campus. We bring speakers in to facilitate that conversation. And so again, it's establishing and developing confidence and skills for our students. And then the communities, you know, one thing that we have been able to do with the funding that we received over the years, we are now able to allow our students to go on alternative spring break trips. And so we have funding, hopefully when we can travel again, that, you know, our students will be able to do that. Study abroad, we are hoping to take, you know, a select small amount of students this summer to Harlexton University, partnering with Honors College and Roan Scholars. And so we hope that we're able to do that each year. But we also were able to send students to professional conferences. And so we were lucky this year because everything was virtual. And so we actually provided 3 opportunities for our students to attend professional conferences this spring. And so we hope to continue to do that. Again, they're building community not only here, but in other areas as well. We love to celebrate. So we have a lot of social events just to celebrate the achievements of our students all across the year. Okay, so in the time that I have, I can't believe it's that fast. But again, collaboration, it really takes a village to do what we do. And so this is not even everyone that needed to be on the screen. And so there's many, many more on-campus partners and many more off-campus partners that needed to be listed. But we really have a great support in helping our students throughout this program. And I think that's why our program has been so successful. So how successful has it been? I know someone asked, I can just tell. So the numbers speak for itself. And so these retention numbers are in by the cohort. And so, you know, we do give numbers from summer to fall, fall to spring, and then fall to fall. And so we're of course, we would love to see 100%, but we know that that's not always going to be, that's not always going to happen. And so we really have a high number, and you will see on the next slide, compared to the overall campus retention rates, and especially diverse students that are not a part of our programs, this is way above those rates. And so we applaud the efforts of everyone a part of this to our success for these numbers. And so some other things we've heard from the students, and we know about the students are more engaged. Many of these students within this program makes the dean's list. We have students that have 4.0s right now. These are students that came in with a 14 on their ACT, but they have a 4.0 in college right now. Many of our students are in leadership roles. Many of our students, we have 6 students in the nursing program currently that's a part of the Bucks Academy. And that's unheard of. We don't have a lot of our diverse students that, get into some of these programs, but currently we have 6 students in the nursing program. And so that's just something that I'm very proud about. The students are excited to be here. So, these students have that family, they have that community. We've been able to foster that with them. And so they're excited to be a Buccaneer. They're excited to be a part of the family. And so then this is some research from institutional or data from institutional research. So you can see just in some of the cohorts, I don't have all the cohort data on here. And again, the pandemic sort of messed some things up. And so numbers probably would have kept going higher, but the pandemic happened. But you will see compared to the overall population, as well as our students and the populations of the students in our program, we have a higher retention rate in all of those areas. And so we're very fortunate to have that. So last, until I can, I'm gonna have the students talk very briefly, but what did the students like most about the program? And so you can see the 41% is meeting new people. Again, fostering that sense of community, that belonging, that inclusion. The students really wanted to meet new people, and build that family that they're going to have over the course of time here. And then I won't be able to read all of this, and so, but we just, again, this is from evaluations, and the students have to do an essay when they enter this program. So every student has to do about a 500-word essay. And so we get some of this data from that, but you can see that the students really love the program. They felt like these students, this program really set the bar for them of how successful they can be on campus. And again, I just go back to the earlier slides. Students in this program particularly, they really talk about the family. They talk about the community. They talk about the sense of belonging that they have, not only with the students within the program, but with campus. And so how can we create this and scale this where every single student on our campus can have that same experience? And so that's where I challenge you to think about that. That's another day, another time, but that's something that we definitely want to think about. And so I'm going to stop sharing my screen just so I can see everyone, because I do believe we do have Naomi on the call. That is one of our first cohort students within the formerly Summer Bridge program, but Bucks Academy. And so she's currently a leader. And so I just want to give her time just to talk about her experience as being a Bucks Academy student and leader.
Hi, everyone. So as Carshonda mentioned, I was a part of the first cohort for Summer Bridge, now Bucks Academy. And I feel like just being a part of Bucks Academy before actually coming into my freshman year made me feel like I had stepped foot on campus before, that I have been a part of the ETSU community long before I even, step foot in Johnson City. The Multicultural Center, Carshonda, Justin, everybody just really has my back. And I know that if I ever have any problems or have any issues, I have somebody to turn to, and I have somebody to, look up to, and somebody that's going to be there to motivate me along the way. And they have, brought me some great opportunities. I've put in the effort to try and be as involved as I can, which is one of the things that the Summer Bridge program really did. We did community service and other activities throughout the community. They also made us do study hall and stuff, which definitely gave me some time management skills, especially with the busy schedule that we had. When I came back in the fall, I was like, okay, I need to schedule time to do my homework, fun time, just how to set schedule, something that I didn't really do in high school because it wasn't the same, but that transition really allowed me to understand what I had to do to be successful in college. And so they really did give me the tools that I needed to continue on freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior year, not just my freshman year, but I'm still working with them. They're still helping me. So I'm forever grateful for that opportunity.
Thank you, Naomi. I don't think the other student was able to join us today. So this concludes the presentation. And so I can open it up, Phyllis, for questions, comments, feedbacks, criticisms, all the above.
Let's definitely open the floor for questions. If you'd rather put your question in the chat, I'm happy to read it for you, but you are unmuted. So please feel invited to just ask your question.
I'd love to ask a question of Carshonda. I'm in sociology, and I was really happy to see that one of the students who was quoted from the Summer Bridge program is one of our majors, Amir Kane. She's been fantastic, and we've gotten to do a lot of great things with her and get her involved in research because she was so well prepared and so eager to do new things and constantly add to her repertoire of just the things to be exposed to. So I think that the Bucks Academy is going to be doing wonderful things for the future in that way too. I imagine the last few weeks have been really, really hard, and Carshonda, you alluded to that. And what are some things that we can do to support our students as they're going through a very stressful time, seeing donors who are not exactly supportive of diversity and inclusion on campus and who have actually done the opposite of promoting belonging in the form of criticizing students? So you've probably had so many conversations. And what are some of the kinds of things that you've been trying to do and in your response to students and their questions, things that I know that we can do too?
Thank you for that feedback, and thank you for that question. I think the one thing that I'm trying to do, and I think is needed right now, is just to listen to our students, to create a space where they can vent. I think there's been some comments where students feel that they're being silenced because of how they want to respond and their feelings toward some of the things that are going on. And so I really, just try to check in with the students and just listen. I think many times we go and say, this is how you should feel, or, give them advice on that. But I think just having a space, just the students, just to say what they want to say without any judgment, without any, anything, I think is something that our students need right now. They need the support. I will tell you, our students are hurting. And so there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of bitterness, there's a lot of untrust right now. We have students that may not come back this fall. We have new students that may not come. And so these issues are real. And I know that it's bigger than what we can do in the center. And in some parts, it's bigger than what many of us on the screen can do. But it really needs to be a systematic and campus change and a shift in the culture on our campus. But I think the first part is listening, but then also what are you going to do after you listen? And so I know we've had several conversations about that even earlier this morning. And so so I think to your question, let's, listen to the students, support, see what they need and try to give them what they need. And sometimes it's just the ear. Sometimes it's just allowing them to talk without any judgment and to say what they need to say, because they're keeping that inside. And then our students are struggling because they're home. So they're not getting, well, some students are getting the support that they need because they have that family and they have that support system, but not all of our students have that at home. And so many of our students come to campus because of the community and the support that we have. And so reach out to your students and see what they need, and then see how you can support them the way that they need to be supported, which may look different than the way that we think that they need that support.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome. And again, there could be more things that we're doing, but I think what I've learned is to try to listen to what students need instead of reacting to what I think that they need. And so I think just sitting back, and maybe we don't do something now, maybe we wait and do something later. That's okay, as long as it supports the students in the way that they need to be supported. And then I want to flip that. I think we talked about this earlier. We need to support each other. And so there's many faculty and staff on this call. I was very vulnerable this morning. I said, I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted. I'm tired. Sometimes I don't know what to do. And so I think we need that support. And so we're going through a lot right now. We have been asked to do a lot. And so I think as a ETSU community, we really all need to come together to help us so we can help our students. And I know I've had to step back and just really reflect on my feelings, my emotions before I respond. And sometimes it takes a day. Sometimes it takes me driving to Hilton Head just to get away for the weekend to see the beach, or to change my patio so I can have some sunshine, just do what self-care means for you. And I know I've had to do that a lot over the last year, because this is a lot that we're having to go through right now. So if we're going through this, our students are even having it even worse than that.
While we're waiting for other people to think about their burning questions, I'd just like to follow up, Carshonda, on what you're talking about. What are some of the ways that you're seeing that staff members are needing support right now? Because we've talked about, student support, we've talked about faculty support, but staff have a totally, in some ways, a different set of responsibilities, and I'm sure have some different needs in terms of support. So what does that look like?
I think acknowledging the time that we're in, and acknowledging that unfortunately we're not in a good space right now, and being honest about that. And it's even hard for me because I don't know everyone on the call right now. So, but being honest about the situation that we're in, and it goes way beyond what's going on with Coach Shea right now. And so there's a huge protest, and yes, that's things that we need to talk about and we need to process, but a lot of the feelings and frustration is way beyond Coach Shea leaving. And so it's from years of things that have happened similar to this that we haven't been able to talk about. There hasn't been action. We've talked a lot about it. We've had, focus groups, we've had task force, and many of the people on the call have been here way longer than me and can talk about that. But I feel that just in the 12 years that I've been here, we just keep repeating the same thing over and over. And so, support staff, I think we just have to finally be honest with where we are, the support that we need. Like I'm slowly trying to do, but check in on your people. And, I know I have tried to do that with my staff, but that's been hard too because there's so much demand and there's so many things that we have to do. But, you know, sometimes take a step back and say, yes, this report is due, but there's a lot of stuff going on. So how, you know, can we support each other? Again, we're doing it via Zoom. Not even all the staff are back yet. And so that's hard. And so I would love to go to lunch with, you know, friends again, and slowly that's coming back. But just checking in, you know, just letting people know that you care, just letting them know that you valued. I think a lot of people are saying they don't feel valued right now. And so just checking in, letting people know that they are supported, that they are valued. I think goes a long way. And so some people, you know, think that they have to do X, Y, and Z. Sometimes a text message, you know, just to say I'm thinking of you goes a long way, because you're acknowledging that the person may not be in the best state, and you're acknowledging that, and you're there for support, but you may not have all the answers right now, because I don't think that we do. So I think for staff that we just need to support each other and know that some staff are in a different headspace than what other staff are, and we just have to be respectful of that and support them in any way that we can.
Thank you for sharing that, Carshonda. We have a few more minutes if, for those of you who have a burning question, so or a comment.
I just want to thank everyone for coming. You know, I don't consider myself an expert. You know, I just do what I think needs to be done, and I just have a passion for supporting our students. And so I know we were limited on time, but I would love to continue the conversation if anyone would like to, and you know, any way that we can better support you all in your efforts. You know, I can speak for myself, but now I can see I have other team members on here. And so Laura's on here, Jay's on here. And so, you know, we in the Multicultural Center are here to support you too in any way that we can. So, but this is important work, and I think is very important currently that we just all need to stick together and really come together to make a change on our campus and shift the campus climate that we currently have overall. And you showing up, it means that you want to do that too. So I look forward to working with each of you.
Carshonda, make sure you read all the love in the chat, because there's lots of love for you in the chat coming through, and a warm round of applause, even if Carshonda can't hear it, for our appreciation for this wonderful conversation about inclusion and belonging on campus, but also for all the work you do 365 days a year to make sure that students have a place where they really know they are belonging and they are valued. Well, thank y'all so much. We'll look forward to seeing you next year for Women on Wednesday. Thanks so much for coming. Bye now.
Bye. Thank you.